And we are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Book Club Bros. And we just finished part one of The Fall Back Down When I Die by Joe Williams. That is right. Guys, if you are new here, welcome and welcome in. If you are actually new, never heard of us before, pause the video, go buy this book, read first part, which is from the first page to page 60, and then come back and play it because we're going to discuss this a little bit. And first of all,
Are you going to introduce us?
I guess my name's Chase. I'm here with my co-hosts Landon and Miguel, and we just read part one.
Didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. He just skipped that part.
I was getting to it.
No,
I was
you were
getting
not.
to it.
You
Yes, I
never
was.
wait that
Yes,
long.
I
I
was.
would not have brought it up.
Anyways, what was your initial thoughts, guys, on this first part? I think everyone definitely coming back or coming off of an Atomic Habits selling 10 million copies to Fall Back Down When I Die. Yeah, this is definitely a book.
Yeah.
It's a different type of reading. I think
Yes.
that's what I was talking to Chase about. Whenever you do all these self-improvement books and then you try to actually read, like, I think the first portion of the Thursday Murder Club, I was just like, I told like I was trying to highlight stuff that was like insightful from it.
Yeah.
Whenever it was like a murder mystery book, like I forgot to like be tracking the dialogue of it, so it was weird to go back to like reading almost for fun, I guess. I don't know what you would have to call it.
Yeah,
but
this is like an actual
reading just
true
to-
fiction.
Yeah.
because like yeah, if it's a
Yeah.
made up story, you can't like gain something necessarily from
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, so I mean honestly the first 60 pages from what I got, we just kind of found out who's who.
Yeah.
We started off with going into it. We still don't actually know anyone, at least I don't. Verl? Do we actually know who Verl is?
I feel like that's like in the murder mystery one that we did.
Right.
I feel like it's a break in action, but we don't know who the actual dialogue is coming from,
Right.
which is
We-
kind of weird.
Yeah, we just know he left his family
Yeah.
to go off and be in the woods. We don't know if he's on the run or if he's like, we don't necessarily know why he made that decision, do we? Like
No.
he's just saying like, hey, like
This is like his
you'll know
journaling.
like almost like
Yeah.
you'll know one day, like you. But he says, I still love you and your mom, so it makes me think he's not really in trouble with them, but there's maybe some outside thing that like he had to run away from, like someone's after him, or I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
that's kind of the vibe I got. And then it jumps, and that was it. It's like one page of like this little short, I don't know, paragraph of
Yes.
Verl, and then it jumps into Wendell.
so they introduce Lacey and Wendell
Mm-hmm.
in this section.
Right.
Lacey and Wendell's father passed away, right?
Or was it? No, I thought it was see,
When
this is so funny, bro. What is the kid's name?
Oh, he's just right
Rowdy.
Rowdy is the
Rowdy.
kid's
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
Rowdy. I
And
thought
then, go ahead.
no, it did Wendell's parent was it?
Cause he's living with
His uncle,
his uncle.
Yeah.
who's not his uncle,
Right.
who like
He t-
lived with his mom.
And he knew his parents.
And
No,
yeah, he knew the mom. The mom would like sleep
Mhm.
with
Mm.
him.
Mhm.
I'm almost certain that Wendell's parents passed away. Right? He's like,
Well, Wendell is
because he's like in charge of this kid. Otherwise, and
Right,
he's living
that's
with his
Wendell.
aunt, right, or whatever, or he's living with
no Wendell's living by himself.
with Lacey, his
Not-
cousin.
No, Lacey's is
His
Rowdy's mom.
Yeah.
Is what I
Lacey's-
got from it.
Yes. That's
Is
what
that
I-
what- is that what you're tracking
No, that's
to?
right. No, that's right. That's
Okay.
right. Okay, that's
Okay,
right.
we're
This
all
is
right,
the very
guys. We're gonna have to
beginning
pause this podcast. We're gonna have to reread part
No,
one.
this
again.
is the beginning portion. Honestly, I forgot the beginning dialogue. I'm a little more fresh on what was happening near
Right.
the end.
Yeah.
And so there's Wendell, who's the
The
young
boy's mother, Rowdy's mother. Okay then.
No,
No.
Wendell's the guy.
Wendell.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. I thought you said Lacey. Sorry,
There's Wendell. There's Lacey, who's the mom
Mhm.
of Rowdy.
of Rowdy.
Mhm.
There's Jackie, who's the neighbor
Mhm.
of Wendell. Is what I got.
Yeah.
Wendell's about
Okay,
he's about our age. He's around the 20s. 20. I think he said 24 years old.
I'm trying to.
Seems like he's a
24
farm-
years old. Yeah.
farmer,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden he got dropped off this kid named Rowdy Burns. We find out who's basically mute.
Yeah.
Who I don't know if he said there was an age. on Rowdy, but he seems younger, like maybe 10 or
I
something,
think he was around like 9, 10 years old.
and he was basically dropped off from like Child Protective Services because they found out like he was the only one.
Wendell was supposed to be like his only family
Right,
that they were able to get in contact with,
right,
and it turns out that he wasn't actually like biological family.
right. He just
Crazy.
right, and then what was the other thing? So Wendell's a farmer. Works for a farmer.
Works for a farmer.
Works for a farmer, and yeah, I'm just trying to like, I don't know. I don't know. This is gonna be such a hard way to like describe this part because
Yeah.
like I think we're just gonna have to like talk about exactly what kind of happened.
He's also an athlete. How
He
about
was basketball,
a
yes,
real
yes,
good
that-
basketball player.
yeah.
real good basketball player. That's right.
I remember reading that.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, what are the odds
right?
of it being a basketball player?
And so
Hey,
yeah,
but not only that, apparently he was a basketball player, but he, for some reason, which you would never expect, I guess just stereotypically, the only thing he loved more than basketball is reading books.
Right.
yes,
He loves reading books. He's just like, yeah, he said, I love nothing more than when the English teacher would
Yeah, he would steal the-
assign a
steal the
new
books.
book, would assign a new book, or he'd take books and not give them back and
perfect
keep
for
them
the
just,
book club.
Look at that.
Welcome on.
He's
You
really
can-
one of us.
You can join anytime, Wendell. Don't you worry.
He's one of us.
But yeah, that's kind of like the gist of what I got of Wendell. And then I guess throughout the part, Wendell took Rowdy to his work, and then like I guess the first night or whatever, they drove the tractor all night long, and like Wendell was just telling Rowdy all these stories and stuff until he fell asleep. It's kind of what I got, the gist of it. And then we figured out there's Wendell's boss. I don't know if we got a name for the boss.
I was about to say, is it Glenn?
Glenn,
Oh,
yeah.
it is Glenn.
Yeah.
Glenn liked the
Glenn.
kid. Glenn has a wife that loved the kid, and the wife
Has some
would
other
take care.
grandsons, and yeah, he would play with them. The thing is, I think, like, what do you think? Do you think he went through something traumatic and is not talking, or do you think he's like mute?
That's what I think it is.
You think he's just mute?
No, I
Mm.
think
You think he went through something traumatic?
Like he probably witnessed something, so he just can't talk anymore.
We
Yeah.
just haven't found out about it yet.
Yeah.
Because yeah, she even like whenever he was around the other kids and was hanging out with Carol, it says she was a little distraught that he hadn't opened his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Yeah.
to say his prayers.
And then
Brings you back to Verl.
and then it goes back to
There's
Verl.
some type of parallel with the wolf hunt in this area.
Yeah.
Where they talk about wolves. Like even Wendell, I highlighted the part where it said that like Lacey was like standing over him in the middle of the night one time saying, "Get up and get your gun," and they just went out into the woods and apparently
Oh,
were trying
yeah.
to find a wolf but never found him.
Yeah, and then
Or
just
something.
fell
I'm just
asleep
like-
and stayed
Like,
up all night.
Like, are they getting paid to like kill these wolves or something, or hunt these wolves, or?
Yeah.
But Verl in this portion at the end says, "I shot the wolf clean. I did not miss. Each time you have missed me." So
Mm.
I was like, each time you have missed me, like, is he getting shot at
Yeah.
or whatever? Like, is someone shooting at him and chasing him down? But apparently he is in the woods and he's just like slumming it off the just like nature. I feel like
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
just living up in the mountains, right? He's living
Yeah,
up in the
either
hills.
he's on the run or I mean, yeah, we don't know too much about Verl.
Yeah. I'm
Then
trying to pay attention to his day counter too.
oh yeah, day
Yeah.
3, yeah.
See where that.
Yeah,
goes.
because it jumps forward a little bit later on. This
Uh,
portion I understood the
Yeah.
most. It felt like the most clear.
Jillian?
Jillian,
Yeah. So Jillian is a vice principal.
That's so fascinating. I was reading it as Gillian in my head.
Is it Gillian?
I don't
Jillian?
know. I don't.
I thought it was Jillian. Just out for
Interesting.
some reason.
Could be Gillian. I don't know.
I don't know why. I just had not. That's. I
Just
just
put
been
that-
reading it in my head that
put
way.
like a woman, a vice principal woman. I don't know. It
It's
might
probably
sound
true.
terrible,
It's probably
but,
true because Gillian does sound like more of a boy's name.
yeah.
This is a
I don't know.
assistant
Alright.
principal and a counselor.
Whoa. Oh, so we're going with Jillian.
Yeah, I'm just, now
Jillian.
I'll know for what I'm
Okay.
reading that in my head.
All right. So Jillian, yeah, is an assistant principal at a school. So sounds like the town Bull Mountain, right? Is the kind of the area. There's 2 schools. You can either go to one school or the other school. Jillian is part of the
Coulter School
Coulter,
Mhm.
and
compared
basi-
to Delphia, right?
Delphia, yep.
yeah, yep, Delphia and Coulter.
But she used to work at Delphia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then she was a teacher.
A time ago, yeah.
And then she moved over to Coulter as an assistant principal. And then we got introduced, which I'm very curious to see how this works, is
She's trying to save a younger boy named Taven or Tavin. How are we
Yeah.
reading that one?
I said Tavon.
Tavon.
That's
it's
how
a
I said it.
I-N.
Is it Tavin?
It's
I
I.
was reading it as Tavin.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
I thought
it
was
can't be
T-A-V.
Von.
Oh, okay, it's Tavin. I think it is Tavin
Now we're gonna have to go back to Gillian.
or Taven. I was thinking.
Taven or Tavin?
Okay, Taven's a little more. It makes more sense, but not Tavin.
Not
All right,
Tavon.
so-
Tavon, yeah, Tavon.
My bad. My bad.
Tavon.
It's alright, bro.
So Taven.
I
Yeah,
like
it's Tavin. Okay, we gotta
I'm
we
Ta-
gotta, we
Tavin's
gotta
fine.
get these.
There's so many names.
We gotta get these.
We'll iron it out.
Yeah. So all right. So then Taven is having trouble at school. He's not showing up. He missed 6 days or out of the 12, or what is it? 10 days out of the 12 days that he can miss before he gets
Something
pushed
close
back.
to that. He's already about to get the automatic point where he could be dispelled.
Right. Jillian visits his house, meets his mom. His mom's crazy.
Which is in a trailer park.
In
you
a
know,
trailer
kinda
park. Taven's not even there. He's with his dad,
Stepdad.
stepdad,
That bad, yeah.
and yeah, it doesn't seem like there's just a priority when it comes
Yeah,
to
his
school.
dad is dead. Fell out of a truck bed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Taven's dad fell out of a truck bed.
I think this was more so just like showing what Jillian's like her as a person.
Yeah.
She went to this person's house.
Right.
She
Super
didn't have to
caring.
do that. Yeah, just setting the stage for how she is.
That being said, there's ulterior motives there in the sense of they need kids at this school to keep funding,
Yeah,
and they're
for
like
funding.
every kid. Yeah, they said state funding, which is directly tied to the number of students. So you see, but I think that almost has to go more with the school than like what she actually believes. You know, you can tell she, doesn't want this kid to go down the wrong path. It's kind of more her route, but that's just another thing that's attached to it. Is in a smaller town when they're already struggling for students, you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose one.
Yeah.
It'll
And
affect
then-
state funding.
I think yeah, it gets reiterated by the principal that comes in later. I forget his name. Who's the principal?
What is it?
Because it goes back. I know I'm jumping ahead a lot. Kent?
Kent sounds right.
Kent's the principal.
Okay.
And he's the one that explains, like, yeah, everything's attached to school funding. Like, it's just another number. Hey, don't worry about, Taven too much. Like, he's already a goner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't, we're going to bring him in. We're going to ask him about his attendance. But, don't push him too hard because he's just going to leave and we need him for funding.
Before that, too, I think you meet Kevin at the bar, right?
Yeah.
She meets Kevin at the bar, which is just like a
Newspaper guy.
newspaper friend type person.
Yeah,
That's a
he-
little bit. She says he's
a
like
little off.
weird to look at. Weird to look at.
Yeah.
Is literally what she says. But someone that she can just joke around with, I guess. But then we also get introduced to her daughter, Maddie,
Yeah.
Yep. Which
who's
I thought,
about to be a senior or is a senior or
yeah, I
around
think
that,
is a senior going
getting ready to go to college.
Right, and she's at
A
the
private school.
other school.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Is she at the other
no,
school?
she's at
or
a private
at
school.
a private school.
So that's what I thought was. I don't remember where the highlight was at for that, but yeah, it talks about how you have these two public schools, but her mom. The teachers. It says that the teachers in this area make a decent amount of money compared to what's probably some of the other jobs are. So for her, she's able to like send her to afford private school for her because what did they say? Like there's been like four college graduates from each school, and
Oh,
like
yeah.
per class, like
compared to the
no one
private.
really goes
yeah.
to college for the most part. So thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
then
and
they plugged in the stories about her husband Kevin, who isn't with them anymore, and how deeply in love she was with Kevin.
And he died too, right?
Yeah.
How did he die?
I
Do
don't-
we
I
know?
don't
Do we
cancer?
know?
was it cancer or no?
I don't remember how he was.
I thought it was something.
Because
maybe,
it talks about too how it's like I think it had to be something traumatic in the sense that now like it stopped her from wanting to go out into the mountains altogether or go back home altogether.
Mm.
And then apparently her mother now has Parkinson's. But even then she said that she would like say certain things that were out of pocket, but now they don't just go over there altogether. Now they just don't go home. So I don't know that we know exactly how he died, but we know that, you know,
He's no longer there.
he's no longer there with them.
Yeah. And then what was the other things and yeah, and then throughout this kind of first part, there was more Verl diary inserts we found out as well. What was the other
He's
one?
anti these laws that they're making about you can't shoot vicious animals on your own land and stuff like that.
Yep.
Likes training to be he likes it takes training to be a free man. Your television and your school teachers will feed you all kinds of rot. So it seems like he's definitely against the school system, some type of dropout or some type of. I mean, at first I was like, is this Taven's stepdad or something like that? You know, because he's. But I mean, if he's on the run, then I guess that wouldn't make sense unless he would have taken Taven with him. But that doesn't make sense either because we find out that Taven shows back up at school.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
Starts
Yeah.
going.
And then they bring him in. It was Jillian and Kent, and they talk. Kent's like, "Hey, Jillian, don't go too hard on it. Like, don't push him too hard about it." And then she actually, because she cares, is what I think we're all on the same page. Is like she overly cares and cares about these kids, not just like as a number compared to Kent.
Yeah, before we get to that though, so it flashes back to Wendell's portion where he like kind of now they're starting to like almost hang out like as friends and stuff like that. He's trying to kind of be like a big brother to him,
Yeah, they
or
start
whatever.
bonding. Yep.
and they start shooting guns, right?
Yep.
And this is what I highlighted to call back to that question: if he's like mute or if he is just traumatized, because it says this is what it did for me. Just Rowdy watched it all and didn't put his fingers over his ears on the blast while they're shooting. Didn't even flinch. Didn't Wendell notice do that thing with his fingers on his cheeks either. So I'm sitting here like, can he not hear? Because he's not putting his fingers on his ears. He's not flinching.
Oh,
He's
from a
not
gunshot.
when they're shooting and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I'm wondering if like, can he not hear? Can he not? Because like, they've been talking, but you don't get a noticeable understanding that he knows that Wendell's being said. Like whenever they're communicating, he'll like maybe smile, he'll maybe do whatever. If he motions to do something, then maybe. But like you haven't gotten the point. Like even after that, I think it says he starts like making the gunshot noises and stuff like that. Like he won't form sentences, but he said it was the first noise that he had made him make other than the screaming in the field. It sounded natural. He was just making the popping sound, just
Yeah.
pew pew.
Yeah.
And so like it would be one of those things where you can like almost know what the thing would be, but you can't hear it. And so I don't. It hasn't totally uncovered it yet. That's why I highlighted it right now. Like it might be in the next chapter that we read. It says, okay, he's now officially kind of back to whatever normal is
Well,
for him.
on the back, it does say that Rowdy is mute and traumatized. That's what it says.
Oh, okay.
It does. Yeah. So
Oh, you're cheating.
I'm not cheating. That's what
using,
it says.
Using your resources. Well, that makes sense. I mean, that will keep us from. You just took away a major talking point. That's funny. Okay, so he is mute, which makes sense because I was like, yeah, he's able to make some noises, but he's not like. That's where with the gun thing, like with how scared he's gotten at seeing people and stuff, you would think that like a gun noise or something would maybe be like an instant trigger or
Mhm.
something like that, like a loud noise, but.
Yeah, but they are
but at
getting
the same time,
closer.
if he's mute, he probably can like, depending on how mute he is, if he can like faintly hear that loud of a noise.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure how that works. But
No. But yeah, so Wendell and Rowdy are definitely getting closer, treating Wendell's really brought in Rowdy as like a little brother.
Lacey
when
has
I'm
a
shooting.
sentencing coming up for something.
Lacey has what?
A sentencing coming up
Mm.
at the court.
Yes. Wasn't
That's at the very
she?
end.
It's at the very end of
Um,
that portion.
Yep.
No, why did Lacey have it? Do you know what it's
I don't
for?
think we know what it is yet, do we?
No, it just states it.
Okay.
So it might be resolved. It might be in parallel with like the traumatization of whatever Rowdy went through.
And
We don't know too much about that yet.
Yeah, and then I guess the last thing to talk about is
Verl's on day 7 of. So now it's on to day 7, and he wrote 3 different times during that day.
Yeah.
yep.
What is the
The last one was just like, if this is it, like just know I love you. Like almost he's putting it out there like, are you not gonna make it? Are you gonna stop writing? Like
I think This
What do
is
you
my
think?
my thought.
Here we go.
Versal, or what is it?
Burl.
Verl is Rowdy's dad.
Oh.
It makes sense.
That's my guess.
It makes sense.
And he's on the run from a murder or something.
Well, that's actually, man, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about that.
That's when I read that portion, I was like, oh, okay. I think Verl is connected to Rowdy somehow,
Mm-hmm.
and we find out later on. But I think he's the dad.
Because it really hasn't talked anything much about Rowdy's dad yet.
Yeah.
You think he killed the mom, Lacey?
Was Lacey still alive?
Or are they talking about her in like?
I don't know. I thought Lacey was dead, and he's talking.
Lacey has a sentencing. That was in the Lacey's
That's on
sentencing.
46.
No, remember, because Lacey's the one that stood over him and said, let's go into the, like, that was living with him. Lacey's the mom of Rowdy,
Right.
and she's staying with them at the moment.
No.
Oh, I thought she was dead.
I thought no. It's just him. It's
yeah.
just Wendell and Rowdy.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
so
thought he
that
was
makes
talking to
so
her in
much more
past tense.
sense. That does
Yeah,
make
yeah.
more sense. No, that does make more sense. Okay, so he's talking about her in past tense. So she's not there with. So that was a flashback then.
Yes.
That would have been a
'Cause
flashback.
he's telling multiple stories. Of her
Right.
story,
Okay.
so-
Okay, so that does make sense. So maybe this Lacey sentencing means
She might be in jail, too. She
She
could.
might just not be there. That could be it.
She could be in jail. That's why it says
True.
sentencing.
Very true.
okay.
Wow.
Because is it Lacey sentencing in the sense of over Lacey, or Lacey needs to be there? That's what I guess. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
What page is this on?
The
46.
Lacey sentencing is just like the bottom of 46. Says Wendell thought he better trailer get pinned up for the groceries, stock the fridge. He was in Billings tomorrow. Billings. Lacey sentencing. He hadn't said a thing about it to Rowdy. Hadn't much wanted to think about himself.
So she might actually be like incarcerated in custody right now.
That
and
might be what
she-
it is. That might be why he's staying with them. And the dad took off.
The CSP, yeah, and that's what it sees.
interesting.
I think that's what it is. So we don't know why Lacey's in jail.
We got to tread lightly on Burrow because that makes sense, but it hasn't said that that's who he is yet.
Right.
Right.
Because now I'm starting to just take that as fact. I mean,
As
because it does
assuming.
make sense. Because it does make sense. All right, so that brings us to the last portion, and it was Jillian again.
Yep, and then
This is with the part with Kevin that you were talking about.
yes, and this is where Kevin and Jillian don't see
Or
eye to
Kent.
eye. Or Kent.
No, Kent,
Yeah,
sorry,
Kent. Kent. Well,
Which is weird
Jillian-
because Kent's the one who's like, yeah, like you don't need to be pressing so hard.
yeah,
I was just like, you're the principal. Don't you feel like you should be the one telling her to almost do more to keep this kid?
Right.
But he's
Yeah.
almost has the opposite approach, which almost lets you know that I think she's probably more aware of what's going on, like just with everything. Like maybe he's just the principal by name, and she's like
Yeah.
does all the like. That's what it kind of made me think of, where she's like, he's like, oh, I'm sure everything will be fine if it's just a job. And she, you know, from a young age, you saw that like she wanted to be a teacher and just wanted to like make a positive impact and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
yeah. I think Kent. Yeah, Kent was more focused on him still attending after this meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and while Jillian was trying to actually like improve like his not livelihood, or just like trying to understand why he's leaving, instead of like saying, hey, don't leave, like continue to stay. And we're talking about Taven.
Mm-hmm.
So
whenever they sit down, so they call him into the office when she just
Yep.
shows back up at school.
Yep.
He shows back up at school and they call him into the office, and then it just goes incredibly sideways.
yeah, basically Kent kind of starts out the conversation, and then Jillian couldn't take it anymore, and then kind of jumps in and just starts asking more and more questions about
She's just trying to be real. Like,
yeah,
Like, hey, like she starts almost talking to him as a, how old is he? Starts talking to him as a grown up. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, the state limit is this. If you miss another day, you're done for the entire year. The teachers can fail you without any questions.
yeah,
And then it says like his face was flushed, like, and then she felt like she had gone too far. She tried to backpedal, and then she was like, I don't think they want to do that. And he says, I don't give a f what you're saying, lady,
Yeah.
or what the state has to say. So you can see it's like immediately that defense mechanism kind of kind of like sparks up in him, and then Kent tries to come in and help, and then he just
It's too
throws
late.
Kent's stuff
Yeah.
all over the desk and
On the-
storms out.
Yeah, I don't think. Do you think Taven's coming back? Because I don't know if we see him, if we know if he comes back to school after that. Because that was it. That was the first part.
Yeah.
I don't think he's coming. I mean, it would be shocking if he did. Right? That's
You think that was the ultimate straw? He's gonna be just chilling with his dad now.
either
There's
that.
a reason why he got brought up though.
What do you mean?
So I'm thinking he's gonna come back
You think?
because I mean that was it was a pretty decent portion of this first part, bringing up his story.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see why he's connected. Maybe
That's true.
maybe Rowdy's dad is his dad too.
Oh, whoa!
Could be.
Never know. Because of the because he's the stepdad.
Yeah.
Rowdy and him are brothers. Taven and Rowdy.
Could be.
That'd be crazy. Same father.
Yeah. With completely different vibes as brothers.
That's what happens in a small town. Although this is like they moved there because it's like the biggest city in Montana, right? Or kind of like the biggest area is what that spot was supposed to be, I thought.
Yeah, I think it's a decent sized town.
Montana,
if
it's
got
just Montana.
Yeah, it's just so spread out
Right.
where they had that. But
On the next page, it talks about, just to bring it back to the private school thing. Maddie started off at Delphia, but didn't even finish kindergarten there before she went private. So it kind of tells you like the mom was just trying to get her out. Didn't
Yeah.
think that that staying there was in her best interest.
yeah. So that's what we kind of find out. It's just we just know a lot of characters, and that kind of wraps up the entire part. Was
Well, you find out a little bit more about Brian right there at the very end, which is the stepdad of Taven's dad.
oh, that's right,
Taven's stepdad.
because
Yeah.
Because apparently they talk about how he was calling himself the first general of the Bull Mountain Resistance and planning some kind of gathering
yeah,
is like what they're talking
Yep.
about. And then I highlighted at the very end, everything he was finding out about Brian Betts had something to do with the wolf hunt next month, with what happened back in 97 with the killing of her husband. So apparently Brian, we find out, is somehow tied to, oh, okay, so I guess it does tell us this is the killing of Gillian's husband. So
Yeah,
we know
Jillian.
that Jillian's husband, because we found out that we were trying to figure out, like, did he pass away from cancer or whatever it was? Apparently he was killed.
So do you think that's the murder that we're trying to discover? Like that's the murder that this says in the back of the book that we're talking about?
Well, Brian's separate from Verl, though.
Right.
So that killing would be separate from whatever is happening with Verl and Lacey. If that's who it is, now I'm trying to agree with you that that's what that situation is.
I
but
think it's
even
all
though it hasn't
connected
definitely said it
somehow.
yet.
Where
It's gotta be.
It's gotta be
Kevin was
connected
the
somehow.
murderer. They don't know who murdered Kevin.
Mm.
Brian was like Brian Taven's stepdad.
Okay. That's what I wanted to make sure.
Right.
Brian is Taven's stepdad. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And we found out that info from Jillian's friend, the newspaper guy. What's his
Is it
name?
Kevin.
Kevin?
Ken is
Kevin.
the principal.
Man, they should
no,
not
no,
have
no,
been
no. It's not
doing-
Kevin. Kevin is the.
Kevin's the newspaper guy. Oh, is this from
Is-
Dave? Did she find this out
No,
from Dave?
Kevin.
No, no. Who's Jillian's husband's name?
We should.
Kevin.
Julian's
Jillian's
husband's
husband's
name
Kevin.
is Kevin.
Yes. So it's Dave.
Newspaper guy is Dave.
Dave is the newspaper guy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Dave's the one that they meet in the bar.
Yes.
Yes.
I was way early on that with Kevin.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kevin's dead. He was murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin is Jillian's husband.
Oh, okay.
Right?
That's okay.
This is why we have book clubs, man. We'd
Yeah,
read
bro.
this book and be like, yeah, I had no clue. We have four different stories.
They're all the same first letter in their name.
Yeah. So Kevin is Jillian's husband.
Mm-hmm.
Jillian knows Dave. Dave works at the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
Jillian asked Dave to look into Taven's stepdad,
Damn, stepdad.
whose name is
Brian.
Brian Betts.
Brian.
Which kind of makes sense now. Why she's so interested in Taven.
Right.
That's another layer of
Oh,
it.
because
Right,
it has.
'cause he seems to be
because
linked
He
Yeah.
seems to
to
be
possibly to the.
linked. So she really
the
doesn't care
murder.
about these kids.
She might not.
Self-motivated.
Oh.
Self-motivated.
And then do we know Taven's mom's name?
We do. It was
yes,
back there. I don't think she was that key of a feature.
No, because she says Trisha.
Trisha.
Trisha. Okay.
Trisha
Trish-
Wilson.
Trying to go through all of everyone that we know,
Yeah.
We'll have them jumbled up by next week.
right? No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't.
I feel better. But now that we've ironed out some of that stuff, that'll make this next portion of reading
Right.
Right.
make
yeah,
a little
for
more
sure.
sense.
Okay. So from the top, Wendell, 24-year-old ranch hand
Mhm.
who owned or not owned, I guess, inherent like now is taking care of Rowdy Rowdy Burns, right?
Yes.
Rowdy
yes,
Burns.
Rowdy Burns.
It gives us his last name?
Burns is his last name.
Okay. I didn't know it gave us his last name.
Yeah.
For a second, I was thinking Burns and Betts. That's where I'm getting messed up. Okay, Burns. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter yet. Yeah. Okay, Rowdy Burns.
Right. Rowdy Burns. Wendell works for
Glenn.
Glenn. Glenn has a wife named Carol.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
Then we also know Verl,
Mhm.
who we don't actually know who it is,
Mystery person.
but it's probably his name is Verl.
No, his name is Verl.
Yeah, his name is Verl. We don't know anything else
That's all
besides
we
his
know.
name.
And he's on the run.
and he's a diary.
He's on the run and he's keeping a diary.
Then we
Writing to
have
his wife and kids, which makes you think that Lacey, if your theory is correct, and he's writing to his wife and kids, and he didn't kill his wife. He's writing to his wife. I hope I come home to you,
Right.
to your mom and you.
right.
So you would think that maybe they both were in something. It makes me think, just sidebar, I guess, that maybe he left and she's taking the blame for whatever.
Oh, and she
happened.
went down for it.
She went down for whatever it was because he's writing to them.
See, I don't think so though, because you wouldn't say, "I hope to see you."
What are you talking
if
about? You
you
gotta let the
knew-
police lay low. You can't just go back in and.
Yeah,
Right,
but
right.
like if you knew that she was gonna get caught, I don't think he knew that she went down.
Well, I mean, yeah, the only
For
way it
whatever
would
it
make
is.
sense, which would be too detailed for us to know, is like he was off working. Whatever happened was they showed up at the house, got her for it, and he's like, "Oh, okay, I can't go home right now because they're like, we'll both be arrested. We'll
That's
both
interesting.
Be in
Why you think that? I think they, whatever it was, they ran. Both of them
trouble." She
ran,
got caught.
and they split. Verl's still on the run. Lacey got caught.
Why would they split though?
Interesting.
They ran together.
I don't know.
You never.
One of us.
Hey,
we're
that's
probably
something
both.
like
we're
that.
probably both wrong.
So okay, then we go Verl. We got Lacey, who's Rowdy's mom, who's now in jail,
Possibly.
most likely.
Yep.
Not dead.
Hasn't confirmed that, but she has a sentencing coming up,
What-
either about her death or about her that she'll be involved in.
Right. But she isn't living with Wendell.
No,
No.
we did find that out.
Then jumps over. Then we have the other set of characters: Jillian, vice principal of.
Assistant principal,
Isn't that the same thing?
probably.
Okay.
Is it?
Assistant principal.
I don't know if it is. I don't think they call it vice principal in school systems. It's not a
Really?
thing.
We
No,
have
Stop.
vice principal.
Hey, we have
You
vice.
had a vice principal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's called the assistant principal, but vice principal I think does cover the same term. She's also the
Okay.
counselor, if we're gonna get real technical. She is the
Okay,
counselor.
So that means
Yeah.
she's definitely assistant principal. There's a difference.
Okay, then assistant. See,
I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with you on
So-
it's
that.
assistant principal and counselor.
All right. So Jillian is assistant principal. Kent is the
Yeah.
principal.
Mhm.
Then we have trouble student Taven.
Mhm.
Taven's wife Trisha, or Taven's mother Trisha, Taven's stepdad Brian,
Betts.
and Dave, newspaper guy.
And it leaves with her getting key information about Brian being tied to her husband's murder.
Possibly.
It all has to do with this wolf hunt.
Yeah, that seems to
Apparently
happen every
wolf hunting.
year.
Talk about the wolf hunt.
I
I
haven't
feel
talked about
like-
it much.
Yeah, they said. I mean, yeah, they said it's like a yearly thing, but I don't remember reading about like why. I don't remember that part.
I think this is my prediction is what
Here we
happened.
go. Let's go.
They all went on the wolf hunt, right? Saw wolf. Someone saw wolf.
Makes sense.
They wanted that wolf. They either accidentally shot Kevin
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
blamed it on that, or Kevin shot someone else's wolf on their land because that's what Verl's saying, and someone
What do you
retaliated
mean
and
by
shot
all
Kevin.
went on the wolf hunt? Because she's trying to figure out who Brian is, as if she didn't know who this guy was and stuff like that. So she wouldn't. Jillian wouldn't know,
No,
right?
But I
Jillian
think,
wouldn't know Brian, or
No, not directly.
not
Not
directly,
directly.
if they all went on this.
no.
You think they were out at the same time and this happened?
I think,
Yeah, I think Kevin went hunting.
I thought this was like a community thing that they did.
Yeah,
It's like a
Maybe everybody
competition
goes.
almost, right?
Yeah,
Type thing.
where
Yeah.
everybody goes out.
they all go out.
specific
Yeah,
time
it's
of
like
year.
bass fishing season where they all go out.
Right,
and
right, right.
Try to get the. So same
That's
thing,
not dangerous.
and then, yeah,
Montana activities.
exactly.
Ah, that's a wolf. Oh, dang it, that's a person.
Imagine.
All right, well.
Dude, I bet that happens. That's why you gotta wear that orange.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think that's what happened. Is there was an accident or it was purposeful where Kevin shot, either someone shot someone else's wolf or someone accidentally shot Kevin,
Mhm.
and then they ran. Could be Viral, or Viral saw it or something. That's
It did
my
say the killing of
prediction.
her husband and not the murder of her husband. So it makes you wonder if it wasn't
if it
it wasn't
was intentional
premeditated. Yeah.
or accident.
That is important.
But yeah,
Gotta look at the words. It's all
there
we
you go.
got.
So
Holy cow.
lot of characters, not a lot of action,
Yeah,
is how I summarize the first part.
agreed.
That was the introductory part. So there we go.
Definitely.
That's through the first 60. So let's check out the next 60. Put us around 120, which is.
We got one at Wendell.
Oh, that's perfect. Go straight to Verl again.
Oh, Verl.
Verl.
Unless you want to go to Wendell.
That's fine.
It's a single page.
That's fine.
so-
No, we can do Verl. Verl. So yeah, we're gonna be
Am I
reading
right
up
about that?
to.
Then you go up to 6, 12, 18. Does this go up to 240? It does, right?
I think we do this every time.
It
where
does.
we
It does go up to 240. So yeah, if we want to
get
stay
the-
on track, we may as well keep to 60.
Yeah, we get the book and we stick to the number, and then we're like, is it? Did we really end at that?
That did happen to me last book. There was like literally like 50 pages of notes of like the appendix in that book. I could not believe it. That's why I was so thrown off. That's why I
Mhm.
thought. That's why I thought that I was ahead. I was like, oh yeah, we got to read to like up to this page. And I was like, wait, it
To the
ends?
back cover.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, there's like a
Wow.
chunk of stuff here.
Just accidentally saw a piece.
No.
Oh.
Sorry.
What do you, wait, where were you at?
All I saw was.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
No, it's Taven has his own part.
Oh, okay. I
Okay,
saw that
okay,
back
okay.
there too. Okay.
That's all.
Oh, so Taven does matter. I was trying to battle with whether or not how big, but like you said, if it's in the book, like
yeah, that
it's
right
it
there.
has to be a reason for it. Yeah, that's true.
But okay. So there you go, guys. We're gonna wrap up this part, and we're gonna read this week from page 61
Mhm.
to 120. And we're stopping at Burl again on day 17. Is what we're gonna
Holy
be on.
cow, he's still making it.
That's what he's doing. But
Still alive.
all right. Overall, hopefully it gets a little better.
Yeah.
Less characters. We actually see.
We're about
where
the
these get
action's about to
developed.
pick up.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping too. And all right,
Hopefully
time to
we'll
move.
just start dying left and right.
Oh,
man.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
that'd be crazy. We know that at least Taven's still alive if he's still speaking,
He is.
Maybe he,
or maybe he's in past tense. I don't know.
just like Lacey, possibly, because
There you
I
go.
thought that she was living with them.
All right, moving on. We're gonna move on to our short snippets and wrap up this episode of this week. Miguel, starting us off. What is our quote of the week?
Whoa.
Day.
Quote of the. Okay, either one.
It's got to get you through the week. You should be
know.
looking up your own quotes the other 6 days.
Okay.
We can't help. We can't hold your hand.
All right, here we go. Self-love, self-respect, self-worth. There's a reason they all start with self. You cannot find them in anyone else.
I like that. Who was that
Should
by?
Random person, not sure.
Oh, just Rando.
Yeah.
Shout out Rando. I like that.
Shout out to this shout out to that random quote. I like it.
Got to take care of yourself before you can help anyone else. That's why they say put your air mask on first, or whatever they call it, your breathing bag on first when you're in the
Right,
airplane
right.
before you help someone else. What do they
That's
call it? Oxygen mask? What are
Yes.
those things called? I like it.
I mean, I saw something else along the same lines yesterday. It was like, make sure you fill your own cup because you can't pour into anybody else's if yours is empty.
That's a good one.
It makes sense. It's a good point. All right, here we go. Time for a thought-provoking question. So, since it is officially March Madness, and we got baseball kicking back in, we got all these sports kind of going at the same time, I wanted to ask you guys a fun little thought-provoking sports question. So, our question of the day, I want to make sure I ask this right. I highlighted it. Jeez, what was I doing that far back in my photos? All right. If the Olympics could only be one event, what should that event be?
Holy cow.
And I'm gonna
One
give you
event?
guys. I'm gonna give you guys probably like 10 sports right here. The 10 probably most prominent ones, and I want to see from that list what would you choose, unless you have one off the top of your heads.
Mm.
I'll give you a list just in case. Volleyball, volleyball, gymnastics, swimming, soccer, track and field, basketball. Keep scrolling down. Figure skating, table tennis, hockey.
Isn't skateboarding an Olympic event now too?
I'm talking summer, and I don't see skateboarding.
Oh, okay.
What should it be? So that can mean anything. It doesn't
Yeah.
say what, like, I guess to you,
Yeah.
what would be the Olympic sport? You can look at it from a all-purpose one, or from like, what would you choose if you only had a certain list of them? Badminton, equestrian, canoe, fencing, archery, judo, golf,
I got mine.
volleyball, diving.
Go for it.
Soccer.
I like that.
I disagree.
I think my
And I
Two
love
times.
soccer. You know why? Because you got the FIFA World Cup.
that's what I was just thinking too. Like the World Cup.
That's like
does.
that's kind of the Olympics.
Right.
So what do you need that and FIFA World Cup
I
for?
figured in my head I'm thinking like
'Cause I
that is
agree with
it.
you,
The
like,
World
that's-
Cup is it. Like that is the Olympics.
But it's not.
Well, in this case it would be.
No, because it would still go on, and you have to have the Olympics. So now you have the FIFA World Cup, and then you spin it around, and you also got the Olympics where it's just soccer.
Well, I was thinking in my head I
Because
was
I
like
was
what's
with you
the
until
most
I
fair
thought about that
what's the most fair
sport.
one that any country could typically win to
Have
see
you-
like the most like how competitive
Yeah.
it can be.
I was thinking the same thing, but I did not land on
like
soccer.
basketball, USA is gonna always dominate.
I agree with that.
You know,
to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so what would you?
mean-
So what would you say, real quick, and then we'll come back.
I mean, initial thought would be basketball, but I think
Is that from like a you think it should be, or you want it to
Yeah.
be from like a your own watching perspective?
I think that's what it should be because everybody's catching up as far as basketball. Like it's a lot more even now.
you think?
Yeah, it is. Bro. It definitely is. Like
I
there's some-
haven't tuned into the Olympics for basketball.
There's some like yeah. There's a lot
Now,
of teams that
is it because a lot of the people in NBA are going to their countries?
They've
Yes.
always done that.
Right.
yes,
So,
and there's more of like an effort to go to their countries now.
gotcha.
So
Yeah.
it's been evening out the playing field. But I don't know if I wanted to watch the Olympics and go from that perspective.
Yeah, from that perspective.
I'm gonna go gymnastics.
That's pretty good too.
Iconic.
Yeah, I
Both
go,
men and women.
Yeah,
It's mixed.
and there's so many different levels and events to it. So
That's pretty good too. I like
This
that
one, this one's easy for me. Volleyball.
Really?
Olympic
Volleyball is electric.
It is
Both
it is,
beach volleyball and indoor volleyball. It is.
It is.
It
feel like
is
it's
for the
so
most part.
one-sided,
No,
though.
but for who? The U.S. isn't dominating it.
U.S. is pretty big in it though. It's like, but like there's not. I feel like there's not a lot of upsets.
Brazil, there's
Brazil's good at it. Like no. It's like I'm pretty sure it's like USA, Brazil, and
you're
like
pretty sure. I'm not trusting your
Germany?
volleyball Olympic knowledge.
no.
at
It's
all.
usually it's not.
You thought
It's
the
not
Olympics was FIFA. was FIFA World Cup.
No. I'm saying that's what it would be.
But that would be
become.
doubling up. That's my only reason, because I would agree with you. I think the Olympics and soccer is like soccer is a really fun one to watch, just from like watching all the countries come together, especially with the World Cup. That's why like the Olympics, it would just like people care about. I would almost say, I don't know if that's fair to say. You think people care about the World Cup more than they would care about the Olympics?
Oh yeah,
Like,
for
right?
sure.
Okay,
World
so
I think
Cup
so.
is, like,
That's
the
what. Okay,
pinnacle.
so that's what I thought. That's what I thought too. Okay, so that was my reasoning against soccer,
Yeah.
because that was kind of the first one that I went to, was soccer, just because from like a wanting to watch perspective. Otherwise, I think track and field.
Track and field's pretty
is
dope.
good, too.
There's so many events. I guess that would be my thing. Is like wanting one that would, from that perspective, like even with gymnastics, like there's so many different gymnastics.
I like gymnastics more than track and field because I feel like the actions of them, like a lot of the track and fields are the same
from
thing.
a watching perspective
From
or
watching
from a fairness
perspective.
perspective.
Not
From
fairness.
a fairness perspective, I agree with gymnastics, because I feel like to be great at track, you do have to be somewhat like genetically
Yeah,
gifted.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
long
for
legs,
sure.
Yeah,
short
like
torso.
gymnastics,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
could be like get yourself to the right weight,
Yeah.
train yourself in the right way.
Yeah.
But
But no, I was saying just like from a watching perspective, a lot of the track and field are just different distances
Yeah, that's
compared to like gymnasts. Like it's like completely different, almost sports within the sport,
true. Hmm.
where you're either a tumbler, or you're on the rings or on the pole or
on
whatever
the
that
mat
is,
or whatever.
or the
yeah.
mat. Yeah,
I mean, track and field. What you have your
you got the
got your-
spear,
Yeah,
Javelin.
javelin, and then you got the ball,
javelin, shot put,
shot put.
High jump, long jump.
high
Then you
jump,
got the
yeah,
sprinting,
sprints,
Right.
distance.
But there's a lot of them that are running.
That's what you're.
That's
Okay,
what I'm
that's
discus,
what you're saying.
discus.
Okay.
Like if there were ones where it was like running on one foot or stuff like that, maybe. But like long distance versus short distance, like it's not that much.
Yeah,
Anyways.
those 10-second races are pretty electric. So.
Oh yeah, those get hyped.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I was just curious because, I mean, I like,
That was a good question, bro.
dude.
That
I
was
was
good.
thinking about. I mean, the Olympics are coming up somewhat soon too. We got the Olympics.
Yeah, it's in LA. Or no, California. All
No,
in
wait.
California.
Do we got the Olympics or do we got the
Mhm.
World Cup?
Wait,
I think we have both. Yeah.
No, yeah, no, not this year. It's in 2026, right?
No,
moved
it's
it?
not.
Hold
It's
on.
every 4 years. It's 2020,
It
2024.
wasn't 2020, was it? That was 2022.
No, World Cups are every 4 years, but it's on the
We do. We got whatever
World
it is.
Cup was 2022.
We have soccer matches. That's why I was thinking we got the World Cup.
We had World Cup 2 years ago.
What? No, we did not.
Yeah, it was 2022.
Dog.
Okay, so yeah, I believe it was because I remember watching it at work, at my last job. So the Olympics is coming up July 26, 2024.
We had it in 20. We had the last time we had the FIFA World Cup was in 1994, and now we're gonna have it in 2026. That is the fact of that. The World Cup event locations.
Then
I
what do
think we got the
host?
we have the Olympics coming up.
The Olympics are in
The Olympics
in
are coming
California.
up.
Yeah.
This year? I thought
I'm
it was
pretty
it
sure
says
this summer.
Paris. Summer
No,
Olympics in
no.
Paris.
The Olympics are in Paris. That's
Yeah.
why. So it's not the Olympics. We got the World Cup coming. I couldn't remember which one
Oh,
it was
is
that
that
we
what
had.
it
So
is?
we don't have the Olympics coming. We have the World Cup coming in 2026, and that's gonna be
That's
in
gonna
like
be
Miami. It's in
bro.
Vegas, but it's in Kansas City
Mhm.
too, which is
Yeah.
why I knew about it because that guy is so pumped about it. But yeah. So it's in like 8 or something different locations. Cause yeah, that's what it is. It's the World Cup, and that's coming in 2026, and we haven't had it since 1994.
Bro,
Mm.
the World Cup in Miami is gonna be
Oh my
Crazy.
so
gosh.
insane. I might have to go.
Dude, it's gonna be
be
crazy.
in
You gotta have to
environment.
Uber from here.
Bro, it's gonna be nuts.
Yeah.
What the
Hopefully they
heck?
got that train. But
Oh,
That'd be
yeah.
nasty.
No, it is. I believe it's already set up.
I wish it was from Tampa though.
Oh yeah, you gotta go to Orlando.
Yep.
Oh, is it
Yeah.
from Orlando?
It's from
Yeah.
Orlando.
I would do that though.
Oh, for sure.
I would definitely do that. Save me the 4-hour trip. Just get on the
Yeah, you don't even want to park anyways in Miami,
no.
let
bro,
alone have a
it's
car.
bad.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for the World Cup, everybody's gonna be there.
Oh,
I
that'd
know.
be
I wonder what
crazy.
teams. I wonder what teams are gonna get where are gonna end up where. Imagine like the worst divisions. They're probably gonna put Argentina in Miami now that
Messi's
Messi's
there.
playing
Yeah.
there. He's already got a fan base
Holy
there.
crap.
You can not even
That's gonna
imagine
be
that.
nuts.
I
That
know.
game will be
2026.
wild.
And they say that the United States is a pretty good nation for it, like because it was obviously in Qatar this most recent time, and that was like, dude, that was not good.
Oh, just like
dude, it was
the-
not good. The rules and the
Yeah,
just
yeah, the
guidance
culture
of the-
stuff.
But
Yeah.
what they had to do to get the World Cup, I watched a documentary on it, dude. It was so brutal.
Yeah.
They were shipping in poverty, like
Oh, all the
people
workers
from
and
all the
stuff.
workers from like impoverished places, and then like paying them basically nothing, keeping them in these disgusting places, and then not even like,
Wow.
and they came over so they can make money to send it back home. It just puts everything in perspective for like what some people go through for their families
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And yeah, so like I mean, they would just boatloads of bodies just every single day, just people dying and just dropping them off places because there's not room for all. But they were using them to build this ridiculous establishment.
Mhm.
And Qatar's got a ton of money too, so like they were able to pay. It's part of the whole
It's
like
Qatar.
It depends on how you pronounce
Okay.
it.
I feel like that's like the
I was wondering. I was like,
I knew.
Qatar. I was like, what's
hoping- yeah,
I
Qatar?
was hoping. Yeah, it's
TAR.
Yeah, it depends on how you pronounce it, but I think the technical term is Qatar.
yeah.
See, when you say Qatar in my head, I was like thinking like cut, like
I didn't like.
CUTTR, and I was like, what
whenever I
country
read
is
it,
that?
no, whenever I read it in my head too, I thought it was Qatar, but
Oh, okay. Anyways,
That makes sense though. That's usually that goes along with like the pronunciation of stuff in that area.
but yeah, that's crazy.
get out of here, Gillian.
Wow.
Good question.
Holy
Good question.
crap, bro. 2026, we'll be pretty wealthy by then.
Dude, and I love the World Cup,
Yeah.
man. I love the World Cup. I don't watch much soccer outside of that, but
You got another 2 years.
love the World Cup.
Bro, we're gonna go. I'm gonna stamp that right now. We're gonna go. We gotta go.
Dude, I've wanted to. Once I heard the news, I was like, man, that would be such a cool event to
22
attend.
years? Come on, guys.
Especially if the greats are still playing. I don't know
Yeah.
if they're going to or not.
It's
I don't know. It's like right on the back end of Messi,
Literally.
Ronaldo, all their careers.
that exactly, and that's why we need to go.
As it, yeah,
That'll be their last hurrah.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we get all the just
2 years.
shank.
I like our 2-year output, bro. I'm just gonna stamp it.
Oh,
It'll be
there you go. Especially they
Yeah,
bring
especially
that.
this big soccer guy. He wants the Olympics to be soccer, and he wants.
Heck yeah, man.
He's like nothing but soccer. I won't even turn
Dude.
it on. I know you wouldn't watch it.
Ball is life.
Football, football.
Oh god.
All right.
All right.
Here we go.
Best
Let me
part.
let me sit up.
Yeah, get ready for this one, guys. This one's good.
Wait, do you got options again, or you just going?
No,
you
this
picked
one.
your own.
This one's it.
Okay.
I
like
overruled on this one.
it. I like it.
Hey, it's your segment.
Am I wrong for letting my roommate go hungry?
Back to food.
Roommate and I are both guys in our early 30s, and we have been friends for years. Long story short, roommate has been debilitating.
Debilitating.
Long story short, roommate has very debilitating anxiety and only leaves the house once a month to go get groceries because he works from home. For some reason, he's going through more anxiety than usual lately and hasn't gotten groceries all year and ran out of food by the end of February. He has bread, flour, and has been making himself little loaves of bread to live off so far this month, but he looks sick, weak, and keeps asking me if I'll be going to the store anytime soon and if he can go with me because he's too anxious to go alone. I keep telling him I don't have any plans to go anytime soon, even though I did go a couple days ago, but didn't tell him. It's nothing against him, but I think he needs it at some point. You'd think starvation would be enough motivation, but clearly not. I am oblivious. I obviously don't want him to starve to death, but he needs to overcome this instead of living with it. At the same
Holy crap,
Take us off.
bro. I think I understand where that person's coming from being like an enabler, because it's like you don't want to be the guy like, oh yeah, are you going to the store? Can you get me this every single time?
Yeah.
Because that would be annoying. And they're both what, the
30s.
30 or-
30s.
like, I get it, but I don't know. I don't think he's wrong, but I'll like spin that to like, don't let this person like starve to death. Like,
Right.
that's the only thing I can say. But I mean, no, it makes sense to me like why you wouldn't want to go to the store and like do this for this person every single time. And I do understand like maybe they do just need to get over that hump and like get out and go do it. Or, you know, there's an app called Instacart where you can order all your groceries and have it delivered.
Right.
So it's also an option. But do I think this person is wrong? I'm going to have to say no.
Not
I
wrong.
don't think
Not
they're
wrong for letting him
wrong.
starve.
Yeah, I don't think they're wrong.
Gotcha.
I don't think they're wrong.
Landon.
It begs the question. How much did you know about this anxiety whenever you chose for them to be your roommate? At first, I was like backtracking to like, is this like a dorm mate? Like I guess I didn't hear the beginning. You guys said they're 30, and then you wrapped it up with saying they're friends. So they're
Mhm.
obviously choosing to live together, and they're friends. And so
Been friends for years.
friends for years.
Has very debilitating anxiety. Only leaves the house once a month to get groceries because he works from home.
Once a month to get groceries and only leaves the house once a month. How, like, what kind of a friendship is that? And honestly, it sounds like what like did you have that discussion before you guys moved in together? Because it's like if you
To me,
like
it
other
sounds like they've been roommates,
Yeah,
been for
yeah.
years too.
so it's like not like this. So what? You're just now starting to get annoyed with the fact that okay, you thought maybe he would have gotten over this by now. If you're not telling him
No,
to
no,
like
no. I think. Sorry to cut you off, but I think he was going once a month. Now he's not going at all.
yeah, right. But he's only been not going at all for 1 month, is what it sounds like.
No,
Right.
He's only gone to the grocery store this entire year.
And it's February. That's 1 month.
And that's
It's
2
only
months.
it's only one extra month, which means this is a very new problem. So why are you like I don't think you can afford to be that agitated by it if this is the first time. You know what I'm saying? Like if
Yeah.
you knew that oh like okay, oh you only like to go to the grocery store once a month and then you just want to be home, like to me, like hopefully you guys would almost have somewhat like-minded personalities to where it's like you understand what's going on with that person because you're not a social butterfly either.
Let
Like
me see when
I
these
have a hard
posts.
time
Oh,
believing
yeah.
I have a hard time believing these guys are friends for years, and one of them likes to go to not, one of them likes to go to nightclubs and go out and party and go out and do whatever, and the other one's just wants to be at home all the time. Like they got to be somewhat like-minded. I'm sure one of them. I would even imagine that one of them has anxiety and one of them has debilitating anxiety
Mm.
in the sense like you would easily be able to relate to that. So like I get the whole enabling from that perspective, but if this has been your friend for years, he's been going to the grocery store once a month and only once a month for the past X amount of years, so that lets you know that it's not fake. Like, hey, I only want to go at most once a month. Like I'm cool with that. Like I've said that before. Like, oh, we're just gonna go grocery shopping one time this month. Then you end up needing something and you just go and get it really quick because it's not a problem. If you're the type of person where it really is like I'm going and I'm getting everything once at this time because it's that big of a deal to you, I honestly kind of tend to lean like I think this dude's wrong.
So you would help him out.
I think, but only because from the context of it, if they've been friends for years, it's only been 1 month.
True.
Mm.
Like it's been one additional month. If it's been like, hey, dude, you know what?
If he's
This
been
time,
doing this for
you know,
6
like
months.
hey, I'm not
right.
gonna do this every time. If you're my friend, you can have these conversations. Yo, dude, I'm not gonna do this every time, but yeah, I got you this month. Not like sneaking around trying to because, like you said, that would be annoying if you had to do it all the
Yeah,
time.
right.
If it was one of those things where he's like texting you, like, hey, can you get me this? Can you get me that? If it's February and not April, and this guy's already down to loaves of bread, it's one of those things where it's just like, like if this is your friend, like how can you kind of? It's one of the like how can you watch him live like that? Like I think that any three of us would just be like, oh, like I don't want to watch you like be
Right. Wither
shaky.
away.
I mean, if you're friends, do you guys eat dinner together and you're just over here having your freaking, having your
Spaghetti and
pasta
all this,
and
yeah.
he's like having a bite of
Bread.
Ice
butter,
cubes,
butter and
yeah.
bread. Yeah, just like toasted bread. So like that's because that's where some things probably get lost in translation as far as like
Right,
this thing
depending on the
goes,
post.
depending on what the post is necessarily. But from what we've given, if he's been your friend for years, you've known about this, the 1 month leash is pretty short.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's almost where it's just like, oh, I don't want to enable him. It's like, all right, you're being selfish. I guess that's the word that I was going to use. You're being selfish if it's just if it's just the context that we're given in the sense of like, okay, it's been 1 month and I don't want to enable him. It's like, what, are
Gotcha.
you just busy right now and you don't want to like help him out this one time?
Right.
Because I would believe that over you saying, I don't want to enable him
Right.
from that perspective. But I see it both ways, like you can with basically all these situations. But with the really trying to zero into the context that's given, I think just the one extra month and being like, oh, he's eating less than 500 calories. Like if you can notice all that and the amount of time it takes you to notice all that, like I mean, if anything, just like, hey, dude, you can eat whatever this stuff is, and I'm gonna go grocery shopping whenever. Like
Yeah.
they don't seem to have the same levels of anxiety, but I feel like that's a tough match anyways. Like where is the friendship? What is it built off of? If one of you is totally fine going out, like if anything, that's like, hey, I'll get groceries for you. You keep the house cleaned up all the time. Like form some type of
Yeah,
something like
the
you're not willing to
trade-off.
go out. Okay, then I'm gonna go out and get stuff for us.
I
You
w-
can give me money or whatever. We can go top cart, bottom cart,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
you just clean up the dishes with the food that I'm buying us.
At what point does it become a problem that he should overcome? How many months?
Dude, that's
Short
tough.
answer.
Who
How long would you? Comes up to personality. how long would you go and shop his groceries for him?
2 months.
2 months? You give him 2 months?
That's it.
Dude, in a weird
2
way,
months, bro.
I'm weird that I feel this way. I think it's tough to tell someone when they should be able to conquer whatever that anxiety is.
That is true on the other end. Yeah.
Just depending on what it is.
So
Like,
you go
if
long,
know this
24
per-
months.
If you know, well, you know, if it was that big of a problem, I would probably just be like, look, dude, I think it'd be better if you got a different roommate. Because if you're really friends, it's like what is like. I don't think any one of us would like just watch one of our friends like just
No.
struggle.
True,
like
true.
that.
No, I
You know what
I
I'm saying?
agree. But like, at what point do you talk and be like, all right,
Yeah, I would say probably like 2 to 3 months. I'm
2
not
to 3
talking
months.
like 24. Like I'm not talking one though either.
No,
he
I
misses
see it, I
one
see that.
grocery trip,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then it's like all of a sudden because if he's getting groceries every month, skips a month. Yeah, you probably are down to just whatever perishable food you have left or non-perishable food you have left.
right?
Where it just comes down to that scenario. But we'll go ahead and swing it to you here. Finish it off.
No,
what you're saying.
I think I agree to both you guys. You guys were both
Yeah.
you guys, which is interesting. You both said he's right and he's wrong, but you both agree because it's just in the context of how many times he's been doing this. If it's only been once, and it's really if he's only going once a month, and this is his 1 month that he skipped, then yeah, like obviously picking him up one time is not a big deal.
Right.
But when it gets
If he's constantly
reoccurring,
texting,
then
like,
it
what
leans
we
more
don't know-
Miguel,
Well,
right?
Yeah, what we don't know is if he's like every single month he gets his one groceries and then he's always missing like he runs out of ranch
Right.
or he
and he's
runs
just-
out of
just
of
texting you,
peanut
"Hey,
butter
bro,
and he's like
starving."
hey while
Yeah.
you go can you like pick this up for me, can you pick this up for me, and sometimes we'll do it and then he just misses his whole entire grocery run and you're like look dude like
Right.
then but I think that's just a tricky thing because if you're gonna just
tough.
like
Context matters for
Yeah,
sure.
it is.
But
he's
I agree with
taking a
both you
tough
guys.
love approach. I mean not everyone is in touch with what they're doing as some other people are. Like some people are just like, hey, like this is a burden to me, and you don't even realize like, oh yeah, this is my friend. I didn't realize he was struggling like that. Or
Yeah,
that
I
bad or
think-
whatever.
I think I'm like I agree. I'm sure like my approach, depending on any more context, would be I give him like 3 times.
Mhm.
You know, 3 months. So like, hey, all right, I got you. All right, I got you. Hey, it's May. Like, how you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
You still struggling with? Okay, next time, I'm taking you with me.
Because he'll go with them.
did
Like
say
yeah,
that,
it
yeah.
depends on the
He
level
did.
of anxiety. Like I mean,
Yeah.
that's the reason I guess just approach it with somewhat caution. Just
Right. But
hearing the story because you don't like this person like is at risk of having a heart attack whenever they go out by themselves.
Right.
Then it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, dude, like try and find ulterior ways, like you
yeah,
said,
Instacart. Yeah, for sure.
whatever it would be, just because like you don't want to be like, hey, no, I'm not going with you, and then he goes and he like gets in a car crash or something because he's like stressing out or something like or he gets into an altercation and ends up getting locked up or something like that, like just. Because you don't know what the levels and the stuff like that are.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
if it's debilitating anxiety, I don't know what that necessarily looks like for everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Well,
Wow.
there you go. See, got you
Good
guys.
one.
Good. That was a good one.
It's a good one.
That was good. That really was.
All right. Well, we are going to end it off with that great dialogue discussion about food. And I am hungry. Thanks.
I'm fasting right now too.
Are you fasting too?
Yeah.
You are. Wow.
Fasting for the
This
month.
guy's an absolute champ.
For the month?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, like not eating food?
Not eating. Well.
It's not a specific thing, right?
No, it's like okay. So context. I have a lot of Muslim family.
Okay.
right?
Oh, okay.
It's Ramadan time.
Oh,
So they
okay.
fast for the month. So their guidelines are when the sun is
Sunset.
out,
Yeah.
you can't eat and you can't drink anything. On my end though, I drink water. If I really need to drink something, I'm gonna drink water.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I haven't gotten myself to that level of it yet, but yeah, just do it. I think I did it last year. I felt so great afterwards.
Mhm.
Like fasting.
It is a good cleanse. Yeah.
Fasting is so good for you. So I'm like, yeah, every year during this time, I stick with the time period. But yeah, bro, once that sun goes down,
It's chow time.
yes.
I was about to say, I was like, you'd be losing crazy weight, but then I realized you said when the sun goes down.
Yeah.
Once it's, yeah. And even in the morning.
That's
like,
impressive.
Thankfully, it's dark in the morning now, too. So, like, get a little snack in before. Be good.
Oh, there you go. Right. You're like, oh, don't
Yeah.
see the sun yet. Your eyes are closed. Don't see it.
Dude,
Wear
this-
sunglasses.
Dude, it's throwing me off. It's making me not want to get up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
It
rough.
being
It is, yeah.
so
It's a little
dark
rough.
in the morning, man.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But
All right.
we're gonna wrap it up with that for this episode of part 1 of Fall Back Down When I Die by Joe Wilkins. I think I put him as Williams. I'll have to update that. And we will be back next week with part 2.
To figure out who died.
Maybe, hopefully. We'll find out.
Find out.
All right, guys.